Right now, in Nigeria's Delta State, a really high-stakes conflict is brewing. You've got a massive company, Sterling Oil, on one side, and local communities on the other. And it's become this huge test of corporate accountability, environmental justice, and even Nigeria's own laws.
Wow. I mean, that quote from a community leader, it just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? For the people of the Ofora clan, this isn't some abstract debate about infrastructure. They see this as a fight for their very survival.
All right, so how do we get to this point? Let's really dig into what's at the core of this whole dispute.
So, back in April of 2025, Sterling Oil fires up the engines again on a gas pipeline project. The whole point was to connect a bunch of their wellheads to their main processing facility, the Benuku Flow Station. But what looked like a standard project on paper, well, it pretty much immediately sparked some really intense local opposition.
And here's the kicker. This is why everyone's so upset. We're not talking about some empty field out in the middle of nowhere. The planned route for this pipeline slices directly through the center of community life, right past people's homes, across the farms that feed them, and incredibly, right next to schools and the area's one and only health clinic.
Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about the direct human impact here. Because, this isn't just about a line on a map, it's about very real dangers faced by thousands of residents every single day.
It really all boils down to this one shocking number. Less than 100 meters. That's how close this high-pressure gas pipeline is planned to run to their only health center. To put that in perspective, that's shorter than a football field. You can see why health workers are calling it a disaster waiting to happen.
So, when you talk to the people who actually live there, these are the fears that come up again and again. They're terrified of a potential explosion, so close to their homes and schools. They're worried about the streams they use for drinking and farming getting contaminated. And ultimately, they fear losing their entire way of life.
In this quote, man, it just hits you, right? Mr. Cletus Ifedime, another community leader, puts it so plainly. It's that feeling of just complete helplessness, the sense that their safety is being gambled with, and they never even got a say in the matter.
And this is a really important point. The community isn't just saying no, no, no. They've actually come to the table with a constructive solution. They've suggested rerouting the pipeline through a nearby undeveloped area called the Owe Creek Corridor. They believe this protects the project and their safety, but they say their proposal was just ignored.
So all of this leads to the community's fight for what they see as justice. And they're not just protesting in the streets. They're pursuing a methodical, lawful resistance against what they're calling corporate impunity.
And you gotta understand, this fight didn't just pop up overnight. We're talking about a 5-year struggle here. They've been sending protest letters for years. And in 2024, they took it to the next level and hired law firms. And yet, despite all these ongoing legal challenges, Sterling Oil just went ahead and resumed construction in April 2025.
And this is where we get to the real legal standoff. It's a classic clash, really. On one side, you've got Nigeria's own constitution, which is crystal clear about protecting a citizen's right to own property. But on the other side, you have the community alleging that Sterling Oil is doing a forceful takeover, completely violating those fundamental rights.
But wait, there's more. There's another huge legal problem here. See, under Nigerian law, a project of this scale absolutely requires something called an environmental impact assessment, an EIA. It's basically a report card on how the project will affect the area, and the law says it has to be made public. The community says we've never seen it, and that, they argue, is a major violation of the law. And this is the moment where a local dispute suddenly blows up into something much bigger. This one pipeline standoff, it's become a test case for Nigeria on the national and even the international stage. Think about it. This one local issue is putting Nigeria's promises to the test on so many levels, from huge global deals like the Paris Agreement all the way down to its very own constitution. The country has laws and commitments designed to protect people and the environment. How the situation gets handled puts all of that under a microscope. And this quote from Dr. Emmanuel Akpan, an expert on this stuff, just nails it. There's this massive contradiction, right? You can't be a leader on the world stage, signing climate treaties, and then let companies at home ignore your citizens' basic rights. The outcome here could seriously impact Nigeria's credibility. Okay, so after all this back and forth, where do things stand now? What's the bottom line? Let's break down the community's final demands. What they're saying is the only path to a peaceful solution. The Afar clan has laid out a really clear 5-step path forward. First up, halt. Just stop all construction right now. Second, reroute. move the pipeline to that safer alternative they already suggested. Third, assess. Do a proper, independent impact study that everyone can see. Fourth, compensate. Provide fair compensation like the law requires. And finally, number 5, include. Actually bring the local community to the table and include them in the decisions that affect their lives. Seems reasonable, right?
And so, this all brings us back to the fundamental question at the heart of this story, and frankly, stories like it all over the world. Is this a situation where corporations get to call the shots, or is this a moment where a nation steps up to enforce its own laws to protect its own people? That is the real question at the heart of this standoff.